For the better part of a decade, building a digital interface was an exercise in pure stamina. A designer's worth in the market mapped almost perfectly to their fluency in dense, complex software. You were hired to operate the machine. That meant spending countless hours drawing complex wireframes, aligning typography, and nudging pixels a few millimeters into place. If you could execute those manual steps faster and cleaner than the next person, you had a highly secure career. Manual execution was the protective barrier around the profession. Then the protective barrier collapsed. Artificial intelligence tools arrived that can render flawless, production-ready app screens on command. You can see the scale of this collapse when we map out the timeline. What used to be a standard 4-week design sprint now takes roughly 5 seconds. Because of this compression, clients expect to see their feedback implemented instantly, creating a rapid, continuous loop of revisions right in the meeting room. This sudden acceleration caused immediate panic across the industry. Thousands of professionals wondered if their entire skill set had just been rendered obsolete. The machines have now effectively claimed the surface layer of design, turning manual visual execution into a commodity. An AI can spit out a gorgeous e-commerce app or a sleek banking dashboard before you finish your morning coffee. But that speed hides a dangerous trap. You can perfectly execute the layout, the color palette, and the typography for an interface that completely fails to solve the user's actual problem. This logic diagram illustrates pattern bias. These models take unique user challenges, forcing them into generic molds based entirely on historical data. When it encounters a real-world anomaly requiring genuine innovation, the historical mold rejects it. The software is incredibly good at delivering beautiful answers. It simply has no capacity to know which questions to ask. To figure those questions, you have to measure things a machine cannot see. You have to observe a human being actually trying to use the product. When you sit in a room during a live user test, you watch for a slight hesitation before a click. You notice a sigh of frustration, or eyes scanning frantically for a hidden menu. You also have to consider the physical environment. A delivery app used with one hand in the pouring rain requires a completely different layout than a desktop tool used in a quiet, climate-controlled office. An algorithm can process millions of quantitative data points on click-through rates, but it takes a human to observe qualitative behavior and understand why the user stopped clicking in the first place. Validating the logic behind an interface requires empathy. Removing the burden of drawing thousands of rectangles allows a designer to apply their focus where it actually moves the needle. This chart shows the reallocation of a designer's workflow. The massive surface and execution block shrinks to zero, making way for an expanding foundation of depth. Instead of choosing fonts, primary tasks are mapping psychological triggers, researching friction points, and architecting user intent. This creates a highly efficient symbiosis. The human dictates the architectural problem based on user psychology, and the AI renders the visual solution to match those rules. The designer's primary output has now shifted from the final drawing to the underlying map of user behavior. This shift creates a new professional identity, the thinking designer. By outsourcing the repetitive mechanical labor, the intellectual value of human input becomes the main product. Arranging pixels on a screen is a superficial, easily repeatable task. Navigating the messy, irrational reality of human behavior requires intense strategic focus. Relieving designers of visual production effectively forces the entire profession up the value chain into a more senior, strategic role. The future of building successful digital products relies entirely on human empathy directing artificial execution.